Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What's up? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tayler Yarish Show. This is the Tayler Yarish Show, episode 40-something. I have lost track. I don't think about the episode numbers anymore. We just fucking roll, baby. We just roll. How was your week? How is it going? Whenever you're listening to this, what's going on? Did you get a flat tire? Did you get a ticket? Did you get pulled over? How did you handle it? Were you an asshole? Was it your fault? Maybe it was your fault. Every time I get pulled over, it's 100% my fault. I know exactly what I did. You don't even have to ask me. They always do, which I think is nice. You know, they're always like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I go, "Yes, I do." 100%. I am acutely aware, but I still want you to tell me. And I know you're going to tell me. So what did I do, Papa? You know? Last time I got pulled over, it was I ran a red light. Blatantly ran a red light. It was about 6:30 in the morning. I was in Williamsburg. I was on the scooter, and there's no one around. I go through Williamsburg to go to work because there's no one around, and I could just fly through, right? And there's never a soul around. And the first red light that I went through, whoop, whoop, immediately. I'm like, fuck. Get pulled over. And like, you know, I don't like getting pulled over. It's embarrassing. Then all of a sudden, all these people started to come out. As soon as I get pulled over, people are like walking down the street like, "Oh, look at this guy. Look at this fucking asshole." You know? Ooh, I'm going to sneeze. Woo! COVID. I'm home alone. It's okay. This is my house. I'm not wearing a mask. Not my own goddamn house. You understand? Okay. Yeah, so I got pulled over, ran a red light. Okay, here's the thing. I ran a red light, but I didn't run a red light. Do you know what I mean? I went through this, I went down the street and the light was red. That's what happened. I didn't blow through traffic at a busy intersection with reckless abandon. First of all, I never just run through without looking. I treat at 6:30 in the morning in Williamsburg. Listen, everybody in fucking Williamsburg has a job where they work from home, or they don't have to get up until 9, or they don't fucking work at all. Okay, that's who lives in Williamsburg. I drive through there because nobody's up at that hour. So, especially on the weekend, which it was a Saturday. Saturday in Williamsburg, nobody's up at fucking 6:30 in the morning. And if they are, they're still out from the last night. So, I never just drive straight through. I go up. I treat it like a stop sign, except I don't, fully stop. I drive up, look both ways. Hey, look at that. Again, not a soul in sight. And I keep going. That's how I treat them. So, that's what I did with this one. Guy pulls me over. It's still my fault. I ran the red light, so I'm going to take it. You know why I pulled you over? Yeah, I ran that red light. He's like, "Yeah, you ran the red light back on North and 12th. I said, "Yeah, that's what I just said." Didn't say that. He goes, "Luckily, this is like a scooter, so it's still considered a bicycle," which I was surprised that he said that, because other cops have treated it as a motorcycle. And I don't have plates on it. I mean, I have nothing on it. So he treated it as a bicycle. So he's like, "It's not points against your license. It's just costs a lot of money." So I said, "Okay." He said, "Why did you run the red light?" Like, come on. Don't be. I said I was like, "Oh, I'm late for work," which I wasn't late for work. I mean, now I am because I had to fucking stop, but I said I was late for work. But don't treat me like a fucking asshole. If you're gonna call this a bicycle, then you know why bicycles go through red lights, because there's nobody around. I checked. These are short streets. I'm going to just keep going. There's a bike lane. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit there. Dude, I don't respect a red light in the middle of the night. You know, when you're driving home, you hit a red light and there's nobody around for miles, but you still got to sit there because some red light camera is going to get you, or you just in your heart, you're like, what? Well, there might be a cop. Yeah, I take all those chances. So I went through, got a ticket. That's on me. But you know what? I came to the next light. It was red. And this time, you know what I did? I looked in my rearview mirror to see if there was a cop, and then I went through it. Yep, that's what I did. Because got to get places. You know what I mean? Now, I know that's not the right way to drive, and it's technically more dangerous. I would never, like, in the middle of the day, I hit a red light, I'm stopping. Of course. There's cars, there's people, there's so much going on. At 6:30 in the morning in Williamsburg, there's nothing going on. So, I make my own fucking rules. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I still have to pay that, actually. I got a ticket, or not a ticket, I got a summons? That's not the right word. It's where they remind you that you owe them money. How much fucking money do they make, man? Off of tickets and off of red light things and just, the city just rakes in money. It's like, where does it go? It's interesting. Like your taxes are supposed to go, the for the roads in the city. First of all, they're not paving the fucking roads. I hit potholes around the city that make me flash my life before my eyes. That's not the right way to say it. I hit potholes around the city that make my life flash before my eyes. That's what I meant to say. You hit a and I think I'm gonna fucking get flown off the screen. Like, where's this money going? Who's getting my money? Like, if you give me a ticket for $190, where does it go? I want to see like a chronological. They should make one of those songs. You remember those songs? The educational songs where you learned about like what a bill was and how it gets made. Oh, I'm just a bill. Yeah, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting on cap. They should do that with the fucking money that you pay them when you pay a ticket. They should show the journey. Well, I just ripped you off. Now I'm cashing the hand of the copper man who's gonna put it back in his hand. And then I'm going to the store and then I'm buying some booze because I stole all your money. And I don't know what the song would be. I don't know where the money goes. But someone knows. What account? Does it go into a fucking checking account? Does it go... Who deposits my... When I have to go online and I put my credit card down and then it just goes into a fund that just fucking grows. Is it for shiny new boots for the police to wear? Is it... Because as far as I know, all I hear is that the cops don't have the proper equipment and they're never trained and this and that. And I sympathize, but use my money. I break the law so that you can learn how to do your job. That's my real public service, you know? Where's the fucking money go? I'm drinking an old-fashioned, if you can't hear the ice clinking around every 3 to 5 seconds. It's really fucking good. We went to this restaurant a little while back, and they had an old-fashioned on the menu, and that's usually what I get because I'm boring and I just like what I like. But it was made with cognac, and this very specific type of cognac called like Villon, something with a V, Villon, and that was it. That was the only change, and it's so fucking good. So Kate's parents ordered me some for my birthday because they're very nice people, so cheers to you. But yeah, it's really good. I'm chilling here alone. Kate's over at the Tony Awards. She went to the Tony Awards. Someone had an extra ticket. That sounds fun It amazes me that we still have these award shows. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of seems redundant. I think they should just do the red carpet, right? And then just go home. Because that's the only thing anybody fucking talks about the next day. Nobody's talking about the performances unless you fuck up. Nobody's talking about who introduced who and who won. And yes, there's fucking 3 theater majors who have a betting pool and they make a chart like, oh, well, I had her for best actress in a musical and starring role. That's who it's for. That's all it's for. Dude, I went to so many of those in college. I went to theater school. You go like this is how you knew that I was not really into theater as much as I thought I was, because people would throw these Tonys parties where you like, you know, like it was the Super Bowl. And I get it. Some people don't like sports and they think it's dumb, but it's like, it's different. It is more exciting, even if you're not into football. Because there's a competitive nature to it. Watching people go up and then just, oh, they won. And yeah, maybe you're excited that your person won, and that's very nice, but beyond that, I mean, maybe if you saw every show that was nominated for a Tony Award, then you're kind of like, you don't have stake, but maybe we should gamble. Maybe we should gamble on the Tony Awards, and that would make it better. I'm sure the people that do that are having a good time. But just these award shows that don't really seem to change, except for the people that go to them. They just keep wearing less and less clothing or more and more clothing. There's just nobody that looks normal anymore, And so, I don't know. It's like, and we have the same ones. Oh, it's the Oscars again. Oh, it's the Golden Globes. It's the Tonys. And there's so much history to them, so we feel like we have to keep doing them, but they're fucking so just dry and boring and stale. Because if you think about in terms of like cultural impact, right? Hold on. Maybe I have to burp. I don't know. If you think about like cultural impact, right? Like movies don't really have it anymore. It's not movies that are making people talk on the internet. They're trying. Because every movie's got to, if you want to get nominated, it's got to be about a social issue, a historical social issue. It's got to be about, fucking someone's dying and it's tragic. It's got to have Meryl Streep in it. That's the only way it's getting nominated, right? And so nobody's talking about them anymore, but we spend these huge, like these productions, of the Oscars. Nobody's watching. Nobody's fucking watching. More people are at home watching a Friends rerun on a Sunday night than they are watching the Oscars or the Tonys. The Tonys are even less. I mean, the amount of people at home right now watching the Tony Awards, like, I just saw a thing online. It was like, oh, look at all the stars, the best dressed stars at the Tony Awards. And all the stars at the theater Tony Awards are actors. They're movie stars. There's no stars in the most successful fucking Broadway actress could walk down the street or order from you at Starbucks and you'd have no idea who the fuck she is. And I'm not talking about like the really successful ones who have transferred over into film, and that's how you fucking know them. I'm talking about the people that are leads in shows on Broadway. Who's the lead in Wicked right now? And if she walked into Starbucks, would you recognize her? No, you wouldn't. Which is also exactly how you want your career, by the way, to be super successful, but nobody fucking, bothers you. But they're not making the impact on like a cultural level anymore. Like movies aren't. But there's shit on the internet that is, but they don't get an award show. They get no recognition. The only recognition that they get are followers and shares and that kind of shit, which is ultimately a better currency than a fucking trophy, right? Is to get whatever you do out there. I'm sure that there are people who are going to win a Tony Award tonight who will be like, oh, you know what? How about instead of winning this Tony, how about if like everybody, if they went viral, you know what I mean? For something, for their work. If some article or a video of them crushing the final number of Act 2 went viral on Instagram and TikTok, and then it got them a gazillion followers, I guarantee you they would trade that for their Tony Award. You know? There's people with Oscars right now who it's like, you know, they get respect from certain people, but they're not relevant. They're not relevant in the cultural zeitgeist, if you will. The whole thing's changing. I'm just saying I think we should have award shows for, you know, there should be award shows for fucking TikTokers. I don't know what you would award. I don't know what the criteria would be, but just something. I bet more people would watch if you had award shows for people on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. More people would 100% watch, because that's where, dude, people spend 5-6 hours a day on their phone on Instagram looking at pizza that's too cheesy, you know? And oh, look at this fucking lobster roll that somebody made. Oh, look at this person trying to skateboard off their roof into a pool and they bust their face open. It's like America's Funniest Home Videos, like, you know, that was like the biggest recognition, I guess, that you could get as a viral video. There just needs to be something more, because the I don't know, Oscars and the Tony Awards are just stale. Nobody cares. No one cares. The people don't care. The only people that care that are at the Tony Awards, they're all old. They're so old. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, don't listen to me. I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it. I thought I had the interest in theater like that, you know? I went into theater school thinking that I'd be like, no, I fucking love it. I watch the Tony Awards. I read plays in my free time. I just want to study to be a fucking better actor. I just, that's all I care about. I just want to learn the crap. And I didn't. I cared about just performing in front of people. I liked making people laugh. I remember in high school, like, we would do, if we had a comedy. High school I went to was a brand new high school. So there was no theater department. We had to basically make the theater department our first year because it was just nothing. And so, I was up in there, and we put on this comedy. We did The Odd Couple. That's what we did. We did The Odd Couple. And so if you don't know, The Odd Couple, it's basically like, these roommates, and they're polar opposite. One is like kind of a sports-loving slob, kind of dude, smokes cigars, this and that. The other one is uptight, neat freak. You get the gist. Hilarity ensues. And then there's two girls upstairs who are, they have love interest, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, the guy who was opposite me was a fucking moron. I mean that in the nicest way. I do. He was not into theater. We just, nobody auditioned. There were no guys. So he was like a stagehand who was only good for holding the curtain back at intermission. But they cast him in the show as the other lead guy. And, these people don't care about reading their line or, memorizing their lines or whatever. So he just never knew his lines up until the day of the show. Like, it was the day of the show, and he didn't know his lines for this one scene. So it came to the scene, and we're going through, and I say my line, it's his line, and there's just silence. And so I'm like, somebody's got to save this fucking scene. So I just started riffing, I just started improvising in character, trying to like just say some funny shit. And it was working. And the audience was laughing. And it was an entirely different feeling than anything that I had said before because they weren't my lines. I'm like, oh, I made that shit up. And I made them laugh. That was like the first indication that I didn't listen to in my gut, Because I had that feeling like, oh man, that was fun, huh? When he didn't know his line. I think I had an accent. Every fucking show I was ever cast in, I had a goddamn accent. But the first line, like I said something and it was supposed to be his line, and he was silent. So the first thing I did, they were like snacks out on the table because we were at like a dinner party, and I just started eating the snacks like so awkwardly, just like slowly eating these potato chips. And the guy who didn't know his line, he went off script. He said, "How are those potato chips?" And I said, "Oh, they're so great." But it was funny because I was eating them and then reacting to them as if they were terrible, So then I said the opposite thing, comedy, And then I just started like kind of riffing about some of the furniture and everything, and it was fun, man. That was like the first time I got into improv a little bit before I discovered stand-up, because improv, it's like, it's still theater, but it's also my own words, So that was like the next step into it. But then the problem with improv, number one, it's rarely good. And why is it rarely good? Because you're relying on so many people without any structure. There's no structure, and there's a lot of people that you have to trust and rely on. And I was not good at that. Because you'd have an idea, right? You're like, oh, this is where the thing will go. Like this is, somebody, you get a prompt or whatever, like, oh, you're in a grocery store and it's your first day on the job. And you're like, oh, I have a funny idea. And then you go for it, and then someone's like, wait, but I have a sword. And you're like, well, fuck. That ruins everything I was going to do. And you have to yes and. You can't be like, no, you don't, because that kills the scene. You have to say yes, and I have a stingray or whatever. And that's where just it all goes downhill. It's because one person has a funny idea, but they're not confident enough or bold enough to just fucking lead and go in first. And so they end up having to do this shittier idea. And that happened to me a lot. Not saying all my ideas were fucking brilliant and amazing, but there were a lot of things that never saw the light of day that could have been funny. And so I recognize, I'm like, oh, I like doing my own thing, but I like doing my own thing and not some other jackoffs. And that's when I discovered stand-up. The first time I did stand-up, I was still in college. I don't credit that as my start because I did it once and then didn't do it forever. But it was the first time that I tried it, and immediately I was like, yeah, that's the fucking shit right there. Just your own shit up there, But I was still in college. I was still doing theater. So to go back and play pretend, it just felt phony after a while. I'm like, it's so, like, some theater, dude, a lot of theater is so fucking cringy. It's so cringe. The way that people talk to each other. How could you? When I come through there, I better see your face. Because if I don't, it's like, dude, you're cringy. And some of the problem with theater is that you have to play to the back of the room, right? There's people in the way back that have to hear you. So you have to project. But it does put a quality on your voice to where you're like, and nobody talks like that. You know? And it feels extra awkward on stage because the person's right in front of you, but you're like shouting at them. And it's hard. Like, even if it's an intimate scene, the person in the back still has to hear you. And you can't make minor facial adjustments and this and that. Like, I don't know. With stand-up, you get the microphone. You know, most of the venues I play, they're not big enough to where if I made a facial expression, people would miss it. But it's just, you can do more. And it's your own stuff. You can build, we're getting real deep in inside baseball here, but it's like, you can work it out yourself. It's not already pre-brilliant. Like, there's some brilliant plays out there where the writing is just, it's so great, you know? And I don't think that plays and Broadway and musicals and stuff, it's not stupid. It's not bad art. It's just not the vehicle for which I think is the most purest like expression of it, you know, that I like. For me, there's plays where I'm like, you know, the story and the writing, it's just so great, but I get hung up on the fact that it's not, at the end of the day, it's horseshit. At the end of the day, we're playing pretend. And I like being, I just like doing my own thing. I like being a silly goose, you know? I have a joke that I do on stage where I talk about my senior year where I was in a play called Equus, and I had to be naked. And I'm not going to fucking do the bit, but like that show was ridiculous to me because it was my senior year, and I was kind of at that point where I wasn't over it, but I was no, that wasn't, what the fuck am I saying? That wasn't my senior year. That was my sophomore year. No, I'm having a stroke. I'm on acid. My sophomore year was when I was like deep in it. I thought because I was in this show, right? I was the lead in the show. I was like the lead. Oh, that was like that was the currency in college. It was like, oh, what show were you in? Oh, were you cast this semester? Were you in the show? Oh, I was cast in a show. I was cast the lead in a show, so I'm better than y'all. That was the currency, and I was very lucky because I was cast in a pretty good role every semester of my college, you know, years. And my sophomore year, I was in this play where you had to be naked, and it's interesting knowing, like, when you realize that you're going to be, when you see the cast list and there's so many thoughts that hit you. When you see the cast list posted and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be the lead in a show in the best theater on campus, and a lot of people are going to see it, and it's going to really boost my social cred. But I have to strip naked in front of everybody that I know and will know at this college, which could be real bad. But the third thing, I have the increased social cred that that even though it's terrifying and everyone knows it's terrifying, you still did it. And I kind of got off on that a little bit. I like the fact that I knew people thought that what I was doing was like cool. That it was like, you know, intense. Like, oh, you're the lead in Equus. Like, it came with some social baggage in a positive way. I don't know the right way to phrase that, but like, people treated you differently. and I liked it at the time. Now I don't. I think it's like gross, and I didn't deserve it. But at the time, I thought it was real fucking cool. Like, yeah. You know, you feel like the big dog on campus. Oh, really, it doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't. And ultimately, the outcome, I thought I did a good job, but it's not my writing. It's half the battle was already done for me. And at the time, that was good enough. It was good enough to do the job, to do the performance, and you know, go out there and just fucking get it over with. And that was good enough for me. But now it's like, to do that when it's not mine, why am I doing it? Why am I performing somebody else's thing? You know? Anyway, that's the feeling I have about it now. This episode was weirdly introspective and not funny, but you know, sometimes that happens when you drink. Like I said, I'm alone. It's been a long day, but I was thinking about it because I was thinking about the Tony Awards and like that, how that used to be that was the dream. That used to be the goal, you know? And now I could not give two fucks. I couldn't even tell you a single play or musical that's nominated. But I know Jake Gyllenhaal's there because he was very well dressed, according to an article I read. So that's where we are. That's the status of culture, you know? All right, let's get out of here. That was the podcast this week. Thanks for listening. Hey, the last Yard Comedy show was a fucking hit. I had some friends come out. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah, it was great. We're gonna have another one on October 6th. Tickets are out now. I just dropped the lineup on my Instagram and also the Yard Comedy Show Instagram. It's gonna be a great fucking show. We have Joe List, Mark Normand, you know, obviously myself, my friend Ted Barton, buddy of mine Kevin Hurley, Ashley Austin Morris, and my buddy Peter Wong. It's going to be a great show. I love Joe List. I love Mark Normand. They're great. And you should come out. You should come to the show and get tickets. DM me. Please just show up. We'll get you in. The last one was a lot of fun. We've sold out almost every show, and we're trying to keep it going. So it'd be really cool if you could do that. Tickets are in the link in bio. You know, that whole thing. So yeah, check that out. Check out the tubes and share the clips and all that stuff. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye.